Hello, horror enthusiasts. It's great to have you back for another episode of your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, we're diving into an exciting new project as we take a look at the highly anticipated adaptation of Junji Ito's horror masterpiece, Uzumaki, also known as Spiral. This renowned manga tells the chilling tale of Kuruzucho, a town plagued by a mysterious curse linked to spirals that gradually affects both the residents and their surroundings. True to Ito's signature style, Uzumaki blends unsettling body horror with a touch of dark humor, skillfully navigating the fine line between fear and comedy while creating an overwhelming sense of entrapment and dread throughout its spiral-themed stories. The challenge of translating Ito's work into animation is a significant one, especially considering the mixed results of previous adaptations like Gyo and the recent Junji Ito collection. Capturing horror in animation is no easy feat. It often requires a sense of vulnerability that can be diminished when viewers are reminded they are watching animated drawings. Additionally, the unique, almost shaky quality of Ito's artwork, reminiscent of charcoal sketches from a ritualistic fire, lends a deep emotional resonance to his narratives. When you factor in the tendency of his stories to stretch the limits of believability, it becomes clear that any adaptation has a monumental challenge ahead. Luckily, we have director Hiroshi Nagahama at the helm, a true master of atmosphere who has already demonstrated his talent with adaptations like Mushishi and Flowers of Evil. He is undoubtedly one of the finest horror directors in animation today. If anyone can pull this off, it's Nagahama, and I can't wait to see what he brings to the table. Let's jump right in.
Anyway, he can't calm down without his spiral.
Uzumaki's Terrifying Beginnings, the premiere episode of the anime adaptation of Uzumaki, revisits the initial segments of Junji Ito's manga. At first, life in the quaint town of Kuruzocho appears to be perfectly ordinary, but things soon take a dark turn. A mysterious symbol triggers a series of unsettling events that cause the town to descend into chaos. The main characters, Kiri and her boyfriend Shuichi, find themselves increasingly troubled, especially as Shuichi's anxiety about their hometown grows. He becomes increasingly aware of a bizarre spiral pattern that seems to be everywhere, a fixation that his father, Mr. Saito, takes to an alarming level. Mr. Saito becomes consumed by the spiral, even going so far as to attempt to recreate it using bathwater in a desperate bid to soothe his rising anxiety. Meanwhile, a peculiar local girl named Azami adds to Shuichi's unease, particularly with her captivating influence over the boys in town. They all seem to fall under her spell, becoming infatuated with her almost instantly. Shuichi is the sole person unaffected by this phenomenon, and he takes the time to caution Kiri about it. His concern primarily stems from observing that the crescent scar on her forehead, which she typically hides beneath her bangs, has transformed into a version of the town's notorious spiral. Another example of this pattern is seen in a classmate of both Shuichi and Kiri, Katayama. Known for his laid-back demeanor, he often becomes the target of lighthearted teasing from his peers. This teasing escalates when they strip him after gym class in an attempt to embarrass him, only to be met with shock upon discovering the spiral design on his back.
A spiral! A spiral!
What happened to Spiral? Shuichi's father dies under mysterious circumstances, while most of the townsfolk believe it was simply an accident from falling down the stairs. The truth is much darker. He had become obsessed with the spiral, even frightening Kiri when he demonstrated his ability to twist his tongue into the familiar shape. Taking his fixation to an extreme, he contorted his body into a human spiral inside a trash bin. This horrific act shattered every bone in his body, and it was his wife and son who stumbled upon his grotesque remains. At his funeral, his cremated ashes formed a massive cloud that took on the face of Mr. Saito, which then transformed into a swirling tornado. This enormous cloud descended into Dragonfly Lake, returning to the town as the residents looked on in shock. Mr. Saito's wife was driven to madness by the event, with Shuichi observing that she had resorted to cutting off her own fingertips to escape the sight of the spiral. After encountering Azami once more, Kiri observes that her scar has transformed into a spiraling pattern in the center of the girl's head. prompting her to flee in terror at the sight. The episode concludes with a young man who has become infatuated with Azami approaching her. Ironically, her attention is solely on Shuichi, particularly because he has successfully resisted her advances. Wearing a hat, she provokes her other admirer by declaring that she no longer needs him. In a fit of rage, he tears off her hat, exposing the spiral scar that has now developed into a full spiral, consuming her head. As the vortex pulls her eye into its depths, it then draws the young man into her body, followed by the spiraling force that ultimately leads to Azami's own destruction. Following this, Kiri narrates that the town's troubles with the spiral are far from over. As she speaks, a spiral-shaped snail shell is spotted on a building's exterior, foreshadowing future events. While this marks the end for Azami, the demise of the spiral-headed girl is merely the start of the terror in the Uzumaki anime. The future prediction. The original Uzumaki manga of Junji Ito consists of 19 official chapters, which were later compiled into 3 volumes. This was how the series was initially published, but the modern edition features the entire story in a single volume. The first 3 volumes have been adapted into the first episode of the anime, with elements from Chapter 8 titled The Snail also included. Since the Uzumaki anime will only have 4 episodes, it will be interesting to see which chapters are fully adapted. It's likely that the final episode will follow a similar approach to the manga's storyline. One of the manga's most notorious chapters has already been teased during the episode and at its conclusion. In The Snail, Katayama's peculiar behaviors, which were introduced in the first episode of Uzumaki, are explored in greater depth. His unusual attendance at school during rainy days and his lethargic demeanor are explained as he transforms into a humanoid snail, ultimately evolving into a massive snail. This unsettling transformation stands out as one of the most striking examples of body horror in Uzumaki, as well as in Junji Ito's other works. Fans are eagerly anticipating several scenes, like this one in the upcoming episodes of the anime, which were hinted at during the middle and end of the first episode of Uzumaki. The enigmatic lighthouse in Kurozo-cho also caught Shuichi's attention when he returned to town and during the tornado at his father's funeral. Just like in the manga, this lighthouse is set to play a significant role in the anime's storyline. The Uzumaki anime has received high praise, with many viewers appreciating its faithful and chilling adaptation of the original manga. Its unique black and white presentation effectively captures the eerie atmosphere and body horror that the source material is known for, delivering a truly unsettling experience. So this was for today's folks. See you in our next video. Till then, bye-bye and take care.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.